And maybe, maybe...
Say something about each one of them?
Yeah, maybe say something about each one of them or something, or something funny or some anecdote or whatever.
Okay, we got the assassins I managed. Joe Tommaso and Guy Mitchell. That was the first team I managed. And Guy was a real good friend of mine and helped me, and he still is. He worked one time as my brother, as Guy Heenan. One time in Terre Haute. Even people today ask me about that. Only one time he worked as my brother. Man, I didn't remember it. But he did now. And Joe was, he was a Canadian. He was a tough little guy. He used to wrestle down the South as the Bat. And it was fun. It was starting out, it was something new. And then Devil's Duo debuted with Angelo Papa, who was a veteran and, established star in the business then. They thought he was kind of on his way out, but he was retired. He was working. He did what he wanted to do. And Markoff was just, I can tell you, he'd kick you in the groin, and then you were going down, and he'd say, "Watch the kick." There was nothing to watch it. And then my partner, Blackjack Lansdale, who the first day I met him, it was just one of those things. We just made each other laugh, and we just became the best of friends. And I know his family were well. And every time we were out of town, up in Minneapolis, and I lived in Tampa, or I lived in Indianapolis, or wherever I was, and we had to work on Thanksgiving, Jack always had me over for dinner with his family. And my mother and him were real close, and he's one of my best friends there is. And then there's Harvey Race, who was just a terrific guy, and him and I've had a lot of fun and laughs. And I managed Harvey in the AWA in '67 for a month or so, and then I managed him again in the WWF. And but never when he was the NWA World Champion. And Baron Von Raschke is a jewel. I hope my daughter marries a guy like him. I hope her kids are like him, because he's just a decent man. He's probably the best worker in the world, because he made people mad at him, and he's not have one mean bone in his body. He's just a good man. Ernie Ladd, that was fun managing him. He always had different plaid clothes on, suspenders, and he had that big crown, and he played ball in the NFL, and he had a lot of great stories, and he'd sit in the dressing room, he'd put the ace bandage pads on his knees. His knees were like zippers. He had so many cuts on from the operations. He put his money there, and all the promoters always take their time getting you your transportation money. How much was it, Ernie? $300 from Houston. We'll get it to you, Ernie. They weren't going to cheat him, but he's thinking whether he wouldn't work, they'll add it onto your check. So if he was going to get $1,000, they'd give him $1,000. He'd tell him it was 7 for the match, 3 was the trans. He wanted his money first. He'd tape his legs. Ernie, let's go. Guys are downstairs. I haven't seen my money yet. By the time he got that last knee done, they'd be there with his money. He put his money in his sock and put his boot on and laced it. You weren't getting Ernie Ladd's money. But I see him every year at the Cauliflower or different places, and I like Ernie. I respect him a lot.